Hey, everyone. How's everybody doing? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I just want to let you know there's like some people that said they weren't able to get in.
I'm not sure why I'm seeing the wait room here, and
They said they weren't able to log into it.
to
They're
their
like,
portal.
I don't know. They were just on shut and they couldn't get into the meeting.
Oh, that was because the meeting hadn't started yet, as far as I knew.
It sounds like an isolated incident there. Okay. That here. All right. So just trying to go back here where we were at before. So I think we went over these already, right? All right. Okay, so this is just the initial block out here. Looks pretty good for timing and everything. Yeah, I think just the next step is figuring out the transitions from up and down. So he's not just pivoting from his ankles. And is he going to do anything else? Doesn't look like he's here. Okay. All right. Okay, and then let's see if this is any different here. Okay, kind of the same thing. All right, so moving on. Eddie, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, cool. So still working out on the timing and stuff?
Yeah, I pretty much have the whole thing like kind of more blocked out than it was last time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I see things that I need to adjust the timing in, like the running in the bottom I need to fix. When
Yeah,
he's
where
jumping
he's
up on the
sliding there.
ledges.
Mhm.
Yeah, when he's jumping up on the ledges. You can't really see the ledges in this, so I might have to make them bigger or more noticeable.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm pretty happy with where it's coming along. I feel we have like another week and a half or 2 weeks to still work on it. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like right here where he's making contact with the heel. Once he makes contact, he shouldn't slide like that. See right here on 107. So once he
yeah,
makes contact there, his foot should just plant straight down and not slide forward. So you're probably going to have to put like another step in there, like boom, boom, and then jump. Okay.
yeah. So I would just like grab all the frames and compress them a little bit, and then add another step, right?
Yeah, you would just Are you sliding him with his the main controller, or is he actually running like with his feet planting on the ground?
Yeah, that was the main controller because I blocked out the whole thing before you had said to do like the progressively running.
Okay, yeah. Then I think if you could like here when he jumps down and lands, I would just take the keyframes off of that main controller and then have him run.
Okay,
Because
would
that
I
looks
leave it?
good. That looks good to hear. And then you could just repeat that on the other side to there. So there'd be like another run step right there on the opposite side. And then he could maybe make like a little transition right there and then jump.
Okay, yeah, I noticed those jumps are pretty fast too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to
Yeah, and
have him
then
like
right there in the air, you could probably switch him over to IK on his arms. So when he lands here, you won't have this issue right here of his hands floating with the body. The hands will stay connected to that edge, and then he can pull his body up. It'll look more realistic.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's always like a good time, like kind of when they're in the air moving quickly, to do a switch over from IK, FK to IK on the hands. And then just kind of looking at his arc right there, he's going up here. I would have him continue up because he kind of looks like he's going forward right here without the, what am I looking for? The trajectory. So when he pushes here, like I think his arc could be halfway right there. So he starts, that's the arc right there, the top of it. It could probably be on frame 155, and then he starts falling down.
Okay.
Yeah. And then same thing here, you can just have him, you know, plant his feet and not be sliding with the main controller. Yeah, it's looking good. That's a lot. You took on a big scene there. Okay, cool. Anything else
Thank
with that, or you're feeling pretty comfortable moving forward?
No, I'm feeling pretty comfortable going forward.
Okay, cool.
Thank
All
you.
right. And I think Shiloh is not in class today, and I'll just leave feedback afterwards. Okay, and Amanda?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, this has made a lot of progress. Yeah, I like the variation on the legs when they come down right there. So what are your plans to do next?
I wasn't really sure. Do you think that the character needs like another movement or something? Because I could have like another ball come in or something.
Like it get kicked back at her or something and she dodges it, or?
Yeah, something like that.
That might be nice. You could do that.
And
Yeah,
then
that
I
might be
was gonna
fun to see the ball just like coming back at her.
yeah, I was gonna have the like maybe a second ball comes in or something, and then I was gonna have the other ball you know, like land in the background.
Okay. Yeah, and then when she's settling there at the end, it could be a little change in her hand poses.
Okay.
And then I think you've got the ability to do different expressions with her too. Like I would start in on that. Like I think when the ball hits her head, instead of her keeping her eyes open, she could squint down.
Yeah.
and her brows can come down, and maybe her mouth kind of goes open, or she grimaces or something to just kind of change her expression.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I think there's just like a little sliding right there with that forward foot.
Okay.
Yeah, so just check that out. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. I'll work on those things.
Yeah, cool. It looks really good.
Thanks.
And Devin? Yeah, this has made a lot of progress too. Yeah, the feet look really good. Picking their feet up and putting them down, that looks a lot better.
Yeah, I still have more stuff to do though.
What's that?
I still want to add some more animations to the feet
Okay.
because all I did was just lift it up so
Hmm.
I could get all the timing right for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think they could pivot and stuff like that. And but yeah, it looks like it's making a lot of progress.
I
Yeah.
do kind of have a question because I've been experiencing issues with my Maya and it keeps constantly crashing.
Ah, okay.
So it's,
Do you know when it's crashing?
honestly, it just randomly stops and it's just like when I'm working on frames, it just crashes and I end up losing a whole bunch of work and starting over.
Mm. Um,
I'm just curious because I use a separate controller to move the camera around, so I don't know if that might be causing Maya to do it, but it's like it happens even when it's not plugged in.
so you have a
So
controller for the camera?
yeah, I kind of have this tool that I use that allows me to like move the camera without having to hold down like option.
Okay. That might be doing it. The scene might just be getting heavy too. Um, I mean, there's a way to reference in your characters to your scene, so they're not actually in the scene. They're sitting out in a file and they're referenced in. That usually happens at the beginning, though, before you start animating. But there might be a way to take the animation and bake it out, and then reference the characters in, and then reapply the animation. I would just have to like look at some of my notes on how to do that.
Okay.
Because you have two characters in here, I think, and they each have props. It might be just slowing down your machine if you don't have enough RAM. That might be the issue. Do you have about 8 megs or gigs rather?
I just bought like I work on I got like a new laptop and it's about probably like 2 terabytes.
Okay.
It's a pretty strong one. So
Yeah.
I'm just curious why this is kind of happening.
It might be that plugin or something that you're using. If we look at in your Maya 2020 or 19.
Yeah, I work in 2019.
You're 19. Okay. You may want to go to 20 and see if that kind of fixes some of it. I think 2019.2 fixed some of the bugs that they were having with crashes. The one thing that you want to do after a crash is go in and delete your preferences. I don't know if you've done that.
Okay, I didn't do that.
Yeah, usually once you get a crash on a computer with Maya, the preferences become corrupt and then it just keeps crashing.
Okay, so that might.
So you're on a PC, right?
Yeah, PC. I switched between
Um,
PC and Render out.
let's see here. Maya delete preferences. And yeah, so that's the Mac. And then on a Windows, so it's down here and down in the Maya directory. I didn't think it was in there. Yeah, I think you could probably reference this here. And then usually what you do is just rename it and call it old, like pref old right here. And then make sure Maya is closed when you do this. And then once you relaunch Maya, it will create a new preference folder.
Okay.
And let me grab the chat. So it's right there. Hey, Connor, were you referring to hair controls on the these characters here?
The soccer rig. The person who's doing the bit of soccer play. I was wondering if that character had a hair controls, because that would be something to do. Because I have long hair myself, and headbutting anything causes hair to do lots of stuff.
Oh yeah, I don't think it does have hair rigs,
Okay.
but yeah, that would have been a good idea.
Yeah, I've got this character somewhere on my computer. I could check and see. Is this the Andy rig?
Oh, it's called 11.
Oh, okay, yeah. I don't think she does have hair controls.
Yeah, I watched like a couple like videos, you know, going over the rig, and none of them said anything about hair.
Mm-hmm. And she's not one of those that can morph into like long hair, short hair, right? I think that's the Andy rig that does that. It goes between male and female.
No, this one does too.
Oh, it
but-
does. Well, maybe look for like a shorter hair version.
Okay. Yeah, I can
Unless
see.
this is the short hair version. It might be.
I'm just looking at the character and thinking those front tufts would be straight up in the air as she pulls back down.
The what?
The tufts in the front.
The bangs here, they'd be going up. Yeah, I mean, if there's no controllers, there's no controllers. Yeah, if she's coming down here, they would be probably swinging up like this. Something like that.
I can check and see in the rig.
Okay. Okay, yeah, that's what I would just recommend on this is to just delete your preferences and then see if that fixes the problem. It should.
Okay.
Okay. But yeah, it's looking really good. And Connor? Yeah, I think it's looking better. It feels like it's moving really slow.
Okay.
Just the swings. I think the swings can go a lot faster. You can compress those down.
Yeah, I'll probably do that once I've gotten a lot of the minor animations. Like I worked a bit on the hair, but there's so much movement everywhere else. It's pretty much unnoticeable, and I don't think I want it to be noticed that much with how short the hair is.
Yeah, and he's doing something kind of awkward with his head here. It looks kind of unnatural, like it's sort of turned weird, or I don't know if his neck is doing something like this, but it looks a little weird right there. So he swings back. It starts getting a little strange right here, like he's
For the head?
doing that. And then, yeah, that turn right there. He's sort of cocking his head. Let me see. Is there another angle here? I can also download it.
For the head, most of my movements are on that central neck pivot and the actual head.
Yeah, it's just looking a little strange through here.
For how the head looks.
Yeah. Like I think it's just sort of too much this direction here. Like I'd sort of relax it a little bit. And, you know, maybe just bring it out here a little bit more. You know, if he's looking over here at his opponent or whatever he's swinging at, he doesn't necessarily have to have his face directly at it. You know, he could have his head turned a little more natural, and then his eyes could open up and look that direction.
Yeah, I've yet to move on to the face. I want to finish making sure the cloth is clipping as little as possible and then getting the scarf things and shoulder bits to work well with the cloth before moving on to that.
Yeah, this is just part of the blocking out stuff is just trying to get the poses in there. So with this character, because he's kind of skinny and then he's got the scarf and stuff, when you start cranking his head up in this position or over like this, he starts looking really strange. So it's better to just kind of bring his head out here and relax it down a little bit. Even like that, and then he can look up. I don't think the textures are on here. No, I don't have any textures, but you could open his eyes and then have his eyes, you know, look at the direction. And then there's also something kind of strange going on here with the hips, like this kind of curvature is a little, whoops, it's really weird. Come on. Wow, it just totally freaked out here. Huh. Well, I'm gonna have to reopen it. It won't undo. There it goes. Yeah, so yeah, he starts getting some kind of strange kinks in here, like in his spine. Like he's starting to get one right here where he's bending over, but that's his rib cage. That's not that bad, but getting another one right here looks a little weird. So just kind of pay attention to that. I think it's just the twisting on him.
So undo some of the twist.
Yeah, just in the poses. I can't tell you like exactly like how much, but just look at some of the, see if I can take it back to where it was. Okay, so I think that's where he was when I brought him in. Yeah, so he's getting this angle right here that's pretty sharp. But that's his rib cage right there, which isn't that unusual, but he's starting to get like a weird sort of little twist going on here too. Like, maybe it's shifting it more like this. Yeah, so just check some of those, just some of the angles on him. But this is the big one that I see. It's just like the neck being really kind of cranked over, or the head. But I would do it sooner than later on your, just in terms of, you know, if you start getting more keyframes in here, then you've just got more to deal with in terms of compressing down that swing. Because he's kind of swinging in slow motion here. You could probably go almost twice that speed. So from here, from like 90 to 120.
So 90 to 120. Cut it down a lot. Actually, I think the end of that sequence. Yeah. Okay.
So see how I just sped it up right there and now it's snapping?
I was actually looking at my own project. I didn't see what you just did.
It's recorded, so you can see that. Through, I just grabbed all of these here, and then between frame 90, I grabbed frame 90 to 120. I think I just undid it there. No, and I just compressed it. So that's, I think, uncompressed now. So yeah, so I just did this, frame 90, oops, hold shift down, 120, and then I did that to just speed that area up. And then when you play it, so I'll do it from about here to there. So see how it's snapping more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So try to get some of the timing down before you start worrying about the overlapping action and hair and all that stuff, because it's going to change all of that too.
okay.
Timing will change.
That looks a little bit fast, but yeah. Or that looks a little bit fast to me.
And then he had that other area down here. Yeah, this swing down here from here, like this should go pretty quick. So that's frame from like 147. It's right there. Yep, too fast now, but I mean, let's back it up here so we get a little bit more.
Is there a way to do the compression that the keys fall on like
Oh, onto the frames.
Yeah.
You
'Cause I
used to
remember
hold
doing some
shift
with the
down and it
drums.
did it.
remember doing
I
the
mean,
part.
another way of doing it is that's through the timeline, which is, I don't think it's always the best way to do it, but through animation, you can grab. So you can grab them through here too. And then I think I showed you this already where you try to make some more space here. So like that initial one, if I undo it. I think that was it. Okay, it's updating, hang on. All right, frame 90. So you could activate this right here. It's the retime tool. Click that. And then, so you would start it here, and then I think it was frame 120.
Yep.
Oops, where did it go? Huh, it's not working. Double click. And there we go. So click inside here. I'm clicking up there on the other thing. So this is where I missed. I didn't get it quite on 120, but this is where you can slide it. And then I think if you hold, it used to be when you held shift down, it would snap. So that's actually affecting everything in there. So you'd want to have one in between here. So then it affects what's inside here. And then quite often I will need to hit Q to get out of that. I sometimes will just grab my frames and snap them. So you can snap frames this way too, holding shift down if they're a little off. And then they look like they're, yeah, so it's back onto a whole frame right now.
Okay, so just using the retiming tool and then going through the frames and then just moving them a tiny bit so that they're on
Mm-hmm.
a frame instead of a decibel frame.
Right. And I'll check Maya 2019 and 20 because it used to be down here in the timeline. When you held shift down, it would snap. Maybe it's X because that's a snapping tool. Let's try that. So if I hold down X and do that. Nope, so they're still on decimals. Yeah, let me see what key they switched it over to, because it used to snap to the whole frame instead of decimals. Or you can just go in here and grab them and hold shift down and move the whole block like this, and then they'll snap on frame. Okay, that's the only thing I see there is just some of the poses, cleaning them up and then speeding up those two areas, the big swings.
All right.
And just gonna go back and play this again. Yeah, because the movements are all pretty consistent in terms of timing.
Oh, Professor, I figured out how to snap the keys.
What was it?
You go to the top, you go to edit, and then you go to keys, and then you go to snap keys, and then you click on the little square and you can set it to whole units or percentage.
So key
Or
here,
decimal.
under
On
here.
the top. It was on the, let me see. On the top, yeah, right next to file, on the top left. Edit,
File, edit,
keys,
keys.
and then snap key. If you gotta adjust the settings though.
Oh, right here.
Yeah, and then you gotta change it. Oh, right there, it's already.
Cool. Well, that's good to
Yeah.
know.
Because when I was just trying to retime mine as well, and they were getting all weird. So then I tried to figure
Okay.
it out.
Yeah, this is a new feature, I think, from 2018. It switched over. So Okay, that's good to know.
What do you need to do here?
Oh, I think you just click snap keys and it should snap them, or you gotta highlight them and then press snap keys.
Okay. Cool. All right, so I'll post some information about that too, so you guys all have that. Anything else on this, Connor? It looks like everything else is just kind of coming together.
I guess after a time, I'll need to adjust some of the cloth movement because I do have. I think the cloth down at the bottom is one of the most simple, so it's one of the ones that I had most refined at the moment. I guess one of the other problems is there's been a lot of clip through that seems unavoidable for some of these things, for some of these poses. Where
Oh, with the
through the cloth.
cloth clipping through.
Yeah, the pants is showing through the cloth in certain places. And I don't know how to avoid that, especially with this one little splotch that just seems to be there no matter what on the front of the thigh. The other thigh.
Here,
Yeah,
through
that.
here. Is it the belt coming through, or is it the his skirt thing?
Purely the skirt.
Yeah. Just closed your scene out. I would say get get your scene to where you want it, and then come back and resolve some of that. There are some controllers that will adjust the placement of it to kind of compensate where it's intersecting with the body. There's a lot more controllers on the scarf than down here. But it might be going back and making some adjustments on the rotation of the hips so they're not as extreme, but still maintaining the look of the pose that you're trying to get. Because it happens when you kind of over crank his hips in one direction or have him lean over too far. So then you have to just sort of rotate out of it until it's not intersecting. Because I think the only controller is kind of down here in this area that rotates. Is that right? If I can remember correctly, it kind of rotates the flap down here, but not really up in this area.
Scale it for some reason.
Yeah. Let's open it up one more time here. I don't know if there's any little micro controls on there. So is there a specific frame where you see that happening?
When he settles into the
this pose
when he
here?
has the sword fully back after the first swing is when a lot of it's happening.
Okay, let me get them on here.
So frame 132 is about to like 140 or 150. Oh no, 146 is about the worst. 130 to 148.
Yeah, I was just seeing if there's a way to kind of adjust it there first. And then I don't think this thing,
That's the sole control and has almost no
yeah.
over the front.
And
That's where it's clipping the most.
so I thought the belts had some controls here. Let's see. Belts. Yeah, that helps with the shoulder correction there. I don't think these do much of anything for that. Yeah, it might just be the limitation of the character. I mean, the more he kind of angles down like that, seeing if there's a way to pull him up like that, and then maybe use this controller like that to get him back down.
But that just makes makes him more of the one criticism you had before, where he's just so sharply turned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's just some of the limitation of this. Uh, yeah, I think it's just sort of the kind of unfortunate nature of the rig, the limitations of it. So I mean, you could get into doing some stuff like, you know, putting a lattice on it, just disappear. Oh no, there it is. And then I probably don't have enough points on here, but you could kind of do stuff like this and then animate the lattice. You know, I'd sort of do that as the last resort. Yeah, when he gets kind of his legs apart this far and then he's crouched over, it just crunches this down here and it doesn't have any controllers to resolve it.
If you also go to frame 101, there's something terrible going on with the legs.
Yeah, when you pick his legs up, they go in like that. So then you can unwind it like that. And then yeah, try to do something like that to sort of resolve it. And yeah, so it depends a lot on how this is turning. but it is going to do that on this rig when you have it in these more extreme poses. So you can try some adjustments with this. And that will help a little, but it's still going to intersect up here. Yeah, even when I go to 3 on here, there's still just a little, you know, issue right there. Yep. Yeah, even when I bring this down, it's still problematic. Yeah,
I'm
just
thinking-
he's a pretty simple rig. I mean, he's got some controls on him, but he's a pretty simple game rig. And that's just sort of, you know, what this character does here. He doesn't have all the articulation in him.
Should I just ignore some clipping like that?
Well, I would try to fix it as much as possible. So it's almost always like resolved from sort of unwrapping. Like if it's doing this, you're going to get the bigger problems if it's doing that. So kind of rotating it out like that will fix some of it. And then also the angle of the knees tends to help too. So if it's in like that, you're going to see more intersection happening. So you can just angle the knees out. You know, and that still looks fine. It still looks realistic in terms of like how he's posed here. As opposed to like this leg, I wouldn't start doing anything like this with it because that doesn't look right. He's got his weight on that leg. Okay, so that's kind of the limitation down here in the hips is that there's just, I mean, there's really like not that much geometry in here for it to do that, you know, to not start pinching in there. I mean, this whole thing should be, you know, kind of moved up on the body or not wrapped so close around here, but that's just, you know, how it's designed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't think it stretches very much. Yeah, like it's starting to do this here where it's coming through.
That can be more easily controlled from the actual.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to kind of rotate his hip back here and then just so it's not splitting here in the back. But if we're not seeing that angle, I wouldn't worry too much about it. I mean, try to fix as much as you can. Yeah, but usually it's just the hip rotation here is as much as you can kind of rotate it back like that and then open it up like that as opposed to like that, that will fix a lot of it. The other thing is that just take it off, you know. It's gonna look a little weird though. But I've seen people do that where they'll just take some of these off, like the scarf or something. They'll just, you know, do that. All right. And then Shiloh, I saw you came in here.
Yep.
Okay, let's go back here. So you're starting from your idle and then adding on to it?
Yes.
Okay. He's just looking a little floaty still. So, I mean, any place where you can kind of make him snap where he's speeding up, I think that would help kind of the floatiness that's going on.
Okay.
And let's see, do I have your file here?
Yes.
Right here. Okay, let's take a look at it. My computer's hanging here. Here we go. Got so many here. Hang on. There it goes. All right. I feel like he pushes off pretty quickly here, like from a standstill. Like I would maybe lessen that a little bit, like the distance,
Okay.
and then increase the distance on the second one. Like they're sort of reversed where this one should be a smaller step and then this one could be bigger and accelerating. And then I would have him hop up a little bit more here so his foot isn't, oh, I see, you do have him landing like that. I almost feel like he could kind of jump up a little higher here.
Okay.
Yeah, just give him a little bit more time to land on that. And then,
Okay.
yeah, I think if he jumps up in the air and comes down, oh, let me see, he's kind of going straight from there to a jump. Got it. So I'm going to grab that controller and do motion trail. Hopefully it doesn't crash here.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so you can kind of see what he's doing with this center control right here. And like I was looking at this arc right here, like it's really sharp on where it's going up, and then he kind of accelerates forward. So it should probably be more like, see if it's going to crash here. Can even delete some of these here.
How did
And this
you
is just pulling one
promotion
controller here, so you're going to have to make some adjustments to
Okay.
the feet too. And then just kind of look at like
Oh.
the silhouette too, so it's not doing weird stuff
Mhm.
like this. Yeah, I like that his feet are split like that. It looks good. And then just kind of looking at him this way here. So I think as he's coming down, his arms could come out even more. I think you could
Okay.
take the shoulders and have them almost do that as he's coming down,
Okay.
like that. And the wrists. And I would even like uncurl this hand here.
Okay.
And this looks like it's doing something weird here. Yeah, just so when he's coming down, and then you could do the same thing here with his, the sword, it could be up. They don't have to be symmetrical. You could do some different things with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then just little things like this, just making sure they're not too cranked up like that. Whoops. And then just making them look different too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes, I think it's just little tweaks like that, you know, looking at your arc line. So he's
Mm-hmm.
not accelerating, you know, going up and then accelerating forward, that it's more of a continuous arc like the bouncing ball exercise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it
Okay.
looks more like that. And then that's another thing too with his, you could probably see it better, whoops, better here. If we look at this. So this kind of represents that bouncing ball exercise, and it's fine that his takeoff has an ease in, but he
Mm-hmm.
should be accelerating as he comes down. So that's kind of
Okay.
the sponginess that I'm sort of feeling from it, is that it's,
Okay.
you know, it needs to be, I guess he's landing more right here. So it's going to be a combination of this one and then like his feet and stuff where it really needs to be accelerating
Mm-hmm.
like that as he lands. You're gonna have to sort of go through and look for areas where he's going, same thing with his runs too, that will make them look less spongy if the
Okay.
up-down
Yeah.
motions, yeah, you apply the principles that we did in the bouncing ball so that it accelerates as he's coming down. And that will clear up that sort of, let's go back here and look at it.
Yeah, I was thinking my run looked funky somehow, but that's
Yeah, it's just
definitely
weight,
what
it's
it is.
lacking weight. Same thing with the jump. Yeah, so see how he doesn't feel weighted? He's not really hitting the ground because you don't feel the weight of him coming down.
Mm-hmm. How's the camera?
Let's take a look.
You went to go ride. Mom, what do you need?
Oh, let's see who's. There we go. I think it's probably needs a little bit more work. I like the last shot here, where he's looking up.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like the camera moves before him, so we're kind of getting out in front of him a little bit too far.
Okay.
And I think I closed your scene, didn't I? Let me see if it's here. Oh, it's still here. Okay. So your camera is, whoops, nope, that's the face one. This one, camera 1.
Yeah.
So I would almost start over like this because this sets him up to run. So he's staged on, right now you have him staged in the center. So usually you want to
Mhm.
stage things, especially when a character is getting to run in a certain direction. You want that direction to have more space in front of it. So if you apply
Oh,
like the
okay.
rule of thirds, he would be on the first third over here.
Okay.
And then as he takes off, then let me see your camera. I think, yeah, I've got auto key on. So I would set it up like this. And it could be a little closer if you want to be in a little closer on him, but leave more space over here.
Okay.
And then as he takes off, like that's probably, I think that's your next one right here. Like I would do something like that so we see where he's going next. Like that might be the next
Okay.
keyframe. But I would hold this one. So he takes off right about there. I don't think it's going to do it. It's got too many other keyframes that I'm kind of fighting here. So my new camera, so I just dropped in a new camera here. At least I thought I did.
I don't see it.
It's weird. Oh, there, that's why. Now we've got a new camera here. All right, so I'll usually start where the character's getting ready to take off. So right about here, like 200. I'll do that, and then so another one here, and then I mean, there's a lot of kind of fun things you could do here is have him jump out of frame and then go to a wide shot of him jumping.
Okay.
I kind of like that.
Mhm.
So you could go from here, or you could just have a continuous thing happening where it just keeps pulling back.
Okay.
So trying to get that second piece in there. So maybe we don't quite reveal that yet. So I'm also rotating it, so it looks like he's way up there.
Oh, okay.
Or you can kind of follow him up like that too.
Mm.
And then you could do your, I mean, I kind of like that too. So that last frame wouldn't work. That would cross over the 180 line. You could just come up with another kind of down shot on him.
Okay.
Let's see what that looks like. Sort of like you set the keyframes and then you play it and you're like, that's not what I wanted. Actually, it's not bad. For a rough camera, it's not bad. And then even down here, you could even, instead of the camera just coming to a complete stop here, you could have even up to the end here. Set that, and then you could sort of float back here. Now it's playing really slow. There it goes. Yeah, so that last little thing at the end, I don't think that works. I think you could actually just do a cut right there after he lands. It would look better.
Okay.
Yeah, so I could just do export. And then the chat, where did our chat go? There it is. So I'll just drop that in the chat there. Oh, I saved it out as a, that's not how I want to save it out. Export. And you're working in Maya ASCII. There we go.
Mhm.
I made a comment on the feedback for this work about animatable constraints and how that could fix a lot of the weird ball movements.
Okay, yeah, I was wondering how I was gonna make it stay on the spear.
Like when the spear is actually fully stuck in, you would switch on a
Yeah, switch on your
parent
constraint.
constraint.
Same thing
Okay.
like we did with the hand, constraining the wrist to the sword. You would create another locator there and then just switch it on for the ball to stick there.
Okay.
And then with the maintain offset, it would just stay where it is when compared to if you like constrain it directly to the spear tip or the spear, then that or maybe one of the vertices of the spear's geometry, then it would just maintain the same offset from that initial being stuck in to the ball point if you start animating it from there or constraining it from that point.
Cool. Thanks.
All right. But yeah, that's definitely coming along there. Okay, close that out. And then back here.
Thank you, by the way.
Sure, yeah, I think that's it with everybody. I don't see anything else up here. So if everybody's good, we can just, actually, we're at almost 2:30 right now. So if everybody's good, I would just say, you know, continue working on and then try to post something maybe after the weekend for more feedback. So we've got one more class next week, and then the following week is our finals. And I think for finals, okay, go ahead.
I just said that so soon.
I know, like it just kind of snuck up on us. And I think for finals, we'll just, you guys will upload your final reel. So you can either compile a reel together with everything and show that, or individuals, just making sure that they're all high quality play blasts. And you've got all the things sort of turned off in the scene, such as, this is fine for a real rough play blast here for feedback, but just getting, trying to stop this here. Turning everything off, setting everything to high quality. I've got Maya turned off right now. It's pretty much everything that I've got down in the, hopefully it doesn't make me log in again here. I think it's going to make me log in. I feel like all I'm doing is logging into places. Yeah, I'm not able to get back there. All right, it's at the bottom of the titanium where I've got how to make a high quality play blast, or good looking, whatever I have it labeled as. So it's just setting up all of those kind of things to high quality to render them out, render out the play blast. So it's not a render like through Arnold, it's just a play blast. That's all I require. But we can talk about that more next week as you guys are getting closer. All right, anything else? Are we good?
I feel pretty good.
Okay. Yeah, I think everybody's making great progress. It's just kind of your final couple of weeks here of splining and fine tuning and the overlapping action and getting the weight in there, especially for all of you who have scenes where your characters are jumping, making sure that they accelerate as they're coming down. Helps a lot with the sense of weight on the character. All right, and then I also have office hours. I posted those in our titanium page under all of my information. I updated that link so you guys have the Zoom information. Tuesdays, 10:30 to 12:30. I've got drop in, and it's been very quiet. So, if you need to have feedback before class, definitely utilize that. All right, if that's it, then I will end it here and see you guys out on Shotgun.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.